sun is shining in the sky, hardly a cloud in sight, and we are going to have a fantastic race here today.
Drivers, start your engine!
Cause we want retribution. Yeah, we want retribution.
But coming to the green here, it's going to clean out real well. Pace car's off, kick some ass.
There's the green flag and we're underway.
Green, 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 green. Outside, still there at your door. Good job, man. It's nice and solid. Take care of your stuff.
Three wide.
Here, Hawkins into the wall.
Oh, big trouble!
Crash in the back. Oh, there's a crash in the back.
Trouble.
Great job, doing awesome, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to race number 4 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. It is our first road course race of the season. The Circuit of the Americas, located in Austin, Texas. It is going to be a very fun one. 34 laps of action on the full road course, to be more specific. And it is going to be one hell of a day here at the Circuit of the Americas. 20 turns to navigate through, multiple different types of, could be more than likely pit strategy that could play in a factor as to who wins this race here tonight. But it is definitely going to be one action-packed day here at COTA. As always, I'm Elijah Leonard here with you to bring you the action for the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series 4th race of the season here at COTA. It is it's been a few weeks since we've gone WRLA Pepsi Cup Series racing. The last time that we went racing was at Las Vegas, which after 134 laps and 2 yellow flags and a few cars flying up into the air and flipping upside down, we saw yet another first-time winner here in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. This time it was with Skylar Taylor, who took the checkered flag, and after I do believe Taylor ended up leading the most laps in that event, but nonetheless, Skylar Taylor managed to take the checkered flag and got their first Pepsi Cup Series win, not just for Racing Motorsports, owned by Aaron Abel, but also of their Pepsi Cup Series career. So they're going to be starting towards the back end of the field, so it's going to be one interesting day, and Taylor's going to have their work cut out for them for 34 laps of action. I do apologize if I'm stuttering here and there. My brain is just going a million miles an hour. It is just going. But with that said, ladies and gents, why don't we go ahead and take a look at our point standings heading into this race after Las Vegas. See, after pure consistency, it is Zachary Fitzwater that holds on to the points lead with 92 points, 5 points back. That's Wayne Lopez. Andrew Ramsey third. Wyatt Walker, you see him completing the top 5, just 2 points ahead of CG Hall, one of his own cars. There's Skylar Taylor, who wound up winning at Vegas in 9th position. Their boss Aaron Abel, currently 18th with 52 points in the bank right there. And as we scroll through your point standings, we're going to highlight one of these other drivers that could have had another really good day, but unfortunately, their day ended on their lid. That would be Nia Steidel in the number 6 machine, who wound up getting a top 10 at the Rockingham Speedway, catapulted her up to 18th in the standings, and now after that nasty wreck, she winds up 28th. So essentially, she is right back at the very bottom of the ladder, now getting ready to climb right back up. But she does start on pole here for tonight's event, so it's definitely going to be pretty interesting as to how this race plays out. But definitely, I don't even know what to say, but it's just going to be one of those types of action-packed days here at COTA. And oh boy, another thing to add on top of that, especially in this case, we saw a lot of those drivers at the very bottom of the points ladder. For instance, Sebastian Vaughn in the 54, he's going to be starting in the 5th position. Noah Clifton was also towards the bottom of the points standings. Looks like he'll be starting 4th in this event, but you know, there's definitely a good amount of drivers that are also running pretty consistently in the point standings. So for example, Russell Blaze there in that 69. He'll be starting in the 8th position, as you can see here. As speaking of, let's go ahead and take a look at your starting lineup. Now, before we actually do that, we do have to point out that as of yesterday, when we did qualifying, we had the part-time cars out here, and 6 of them made the field. Unfortunately, they are not a part of this race because the track INI, the track files, unfortunately does not support up to 43 cars. You can only support up to 37. So we can only have only 36 cars on track, plus the 1 car that you can actually race, you know, which would make 37. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and review your starting lineup, your full 36 car field. See Nia Steidl starting on the pole here for today's race. Terry Walker lines up alongside 3 EGI cars up here inside of the top 10, or actually 2 of them, with Claire Phillips starting in the 9th spot. Sebastian Vaughn, Noah Clifton inside of the top 5. Durrani Racing cars of Russell Blaze and Rogel Dorn make up the top 10 in rows 4 and 5. There's points leader Zachary Fitzwater starting in the 13th position. Alex Bonsignor, great qualifying attempt for him. Probably the best one that he's had so far this year, starting in the 15th position. So we scroll through the rest of your field. There's the NS Racing cars of Nathan Stapleton, Andrew Miller, 21st and 22nd. And then as we scroll all the way towards the back half of the field, you know, the final 6 starters, there will be our previous race winner in Skylar Taylor. You see him there starting 32nd. There's Wyatt Walker. That is actually Wyatt. Starting in the 31st position. But a lot of these drivers are going to have their action cut out for them. And definitely it is going to be pretty interesting. A very interesting race at that, because we've seen in previous races. No, I fixed it. We've seen it in previous races where, you know, with track conditions like these, you know, with the cloud cover and also with, you know, the speeds being up, we are bound to see a lot of drivers brake check, not really brake check, but more so wheel hop going through these corners. And it definitely will create for some pretty good action, pretty exciting action, if I may say. But pit strategy, of course, I alluded to it during qualifying yesterday. It is going to be very interesting as to how that's going to play out and how that's going to shake up this race. But it's going to be very interesting. Nia Steidl starting on the pole position, as I mentioned before. Can she finally break through and get her first Pepsi Cup Series win? Can Terry Walker go to victory lane for the first time in the Pepsi Cup Series? A lot of these drivers still trying to look for their first wins. Some of them are looking for their second and third, but we're going to find out after 34 laps of action. So with that being said, the drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. But in order to get these 36 behemoths rolling on the track, let's go trackside to get the command to fire the engines. Engines are fired, pace car is rolling off, and so are these 36 competitors. They're starting over towards the back part of the racetrack, round turns 18, 19, and 20, because a full pace lap is going to take a while. So we start them over by turn 19 as they come around. Pace car is going to immediately make the dive to pit road, and they're going to waste no time whatsoever. A duo of Toyotas. The EGI number 6 of Nia Steidl and the number 48 of Terry Walker from Walker Family Motorsports are going to lead the field on down to get the green flag for our first road course race of the season. Very slow down the front straightaway into the restart zone, and there's the green flag right there. We're underway here in COTA. Atikian diving into turn number 1. A lot of these drivers are getting a little antsy here, almost 4 wide coming off the corner. One car through the grass, that was Aaron Abel in the 43, but he's going to lose a lot of track position there, and everybody's starting to scatter. Everybody's scrambling here as they head through the S's for the first time. We'll start to notice that double file is going to start to dissipate just a little bit more as this event goes on. Give it probably about 2-3 laps. This double file will eventually work itself into single file, which, by the way, I do want to bring up, there are no cautions. Cautions are turned off for road courses, and that will be the same case for all road courses throughout the 2025 season. Meanwhile, fight is on here. Looks like this is going to be for the 5th position. Actually, this is for 4th. Yeah, it is 5th. Meanwhile, up front, Terry Walker has just taken the lead away from Nia Steidl. Looks like this might have happened over by the S's, but looks like Terry Walker manages to go to the lead. That's going to kick Steidl back to 2nd. See if there are any drivers that had a little bit of trouble through this corner. Oh, no, there goes Aaron Abel around. Fortunately, nobody else is going to hit him, and Abel's going to get the car refired and pointed back the right direction. We stay green. So many issues, so many technical issues, goodness gracious. But meanwhile, focusing back in, Terry Walker with the advantage. And he's going to lead the first lap of action here at the Circuit of the Americas. And, of course, the ticker is not going to show itself. But, you know what? It's fine. We're just going to roll with it. Unfortunately, so many issues here coming into tonight's race. That is just rather unfortunate. So I do apologize if you're not going to be able to see the numbers on the ticker, even though there is no ticker. Wow. All right. That's great. That's absolutely wonderful. But focusing back in, the graphic is not there. But anyways. So Terry Walker leads the charge. Then running in 2nd still is Steidl. Zachary Taylor is 3rd. Then running in the 4th position, that would be Noah Clifton in the 99 machine, trying to get a good run here to get his season turned around. Same could be said here for, like I mentioned, Nia Steidl, who ended up having a great run at Rockingham. Then it all went sour at Las Vegas. And now starting on the pole, fell back to 2nd, but still hanging on inside of the top 5. But focusing back over here, Valkyrie Atikian rounds out the top 5, followed by Claire Phillips having a great run here early in the going in the 6th position. Then 7th, that would be Sebastian Vaughn. 8th, Roberto Crown Jr. Russell Blaze currently in the 9th spot, and his teammate Rogel Dorn completes the top 10 here on lap number 2 under pressure from Kyle Craven in the 23. Craven with the preferred line. And it looks like he's going to get that position on the 86 machine. Actually, not that time. Here comes Dorn back on the inside with the advantage. And Rogel Dorn might be able to retain this position. Up until that point, here comes Craven back down on the bottom. Dorn went really wide. But Rogel Dorn is not going to surrender just yet. They head back through turn number 20. Dorn's going to get the great run off of off the corner and going to propel himself right back around the 28 of Kyle Craven. Here's our points leader, Zachary Fitzwater, in the number 98 machine. He's going to slip up there going through turn 1, and that's going to open up the door for Emily Anderson to drive underneath. This is going to be for the 11th position on the right-hand side here for Anderson, and she's going to easily take over the 11th position from Zachary Fitzwater, or the 12th spot, excuse me. Emily Anderson wound up starting 12th, and currently she is running in the 12th position as of right now. But there's Alex Bonsignor in the number 22 machine, currently running 14th. Gained only 1 position, but still so far having himself a good run here in the early stages of the Bass Pro Shops Grand-Prix. Running around here through these corners. Let's take a look a little bit further back. There's Stephen Colon fighting with Val Mosco. That's for the 17th position. And Colon is going to get that, is going to retain that spot over Moscow as they head back over into this next corner. Oh, look at Stapleton just diving in and getting around Alexander Rowe. That would be for the 19th position. A little bit of contact being made there as Rowe gets back down to the inside of Stapleton. This is to try to retain that 19th spot. As you see Abby Walker under pressure from Ryan Little, who rockets right by her. That would be for the 21st position. Meanwhile, this fight for 19th continuing to intensify between Rowe and Stapleton. Little almost door slamming there. Heading back through turn 20, and Ryan Little is coming to pit road in the 27 machine. That's actually kind of interesting. Might be an unscheduled stop for the 27 of Ryan Little. So a little bit of trouble early for the 27 machine. There's Bruno Di Giacomo. Remember there are some incidents that may have happened that we didn't see. So there is a chance that we will go back through and look at the incidents that happened that we didn't even catch on camera, to bring you up to speed on all the incidents that have taken place. But nonetheless, it is still Terry Walker with the advantage. Now checking out to almost a second advantage on Nia Steidel. But again, really no changes currently inside of the top 10 as of right now. The one thing that we are going to have to watch out for are pit stops that are going to be coming up here. I would have to assume maybe right around the halfway point, right around lap 17. So that's just one thing that we're going to have to watch out for as this race does go on. Everybody now has worked themselves into a single file choo-choo train. Meanwhile, as they come around through this little corner, Eric Monaco, everybody's sliding a little wide there, coming off that sharp left-hander. Now back into the right. Caleb Rose in that 59. Has not had a great start to his 2025 season. Appalachia Motorsports, I think altogether, has just not had themselves the best start to the season, especially if you're Caleb Rose, and who's the owner and driver of the team, currently shown at the very bottom of the point standings. But right now, he's not faring any better in this race either. Currently running 26th, but then again, you could still have pit stops that could throw a monkey wrench into this whole fiasco. So might want to watch for that here as this race goes on. A little bit of a buckle I did notice on the 04 of Quentin Moore. Might have made a little bit of contact with one of these drivers. Possibly might have been the 07 of Tanner Parton that he made contact with. Either that or it could have been on lap 1. I'm not 100% sure there, but it is still pretty much, very much so a possibility that it could have been contact with one of the drivers on that on lap 1, turn 1. Or turn 1, lap 1, I should say. But still, same thing. So 4 laps complete. There's 30 to go here in this event. And so far, Terry Walker has led every single lap thus far in this event, as all the drivers within the top 5 have kind of spaced out a little bit. I'd say maybe top 7, maybe top 7, top 8, if anything. Until you get back over, actually, no, a lot of these drivers are kind of spaced out a little bit. And for some reason, and I almost thought that Sebastian Vaughn was going to make a move on Claire Phillips for that 6th position, but he hasn't really quite capitalized just yet. Then again, I wouldn't quite count him out when it comes down to that little battle. As they come around to complete lap number 5 here in the Bass Pro Shops Grand-Prix. Terry Walker, after starting in 2nd, has led every lap thus far. He's already claimed that bonus point for leading a lap. If he's able to stay out front, especially after those green flag pit stops, he would have already clinched the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps, but we still have a good amount of ways to go before that he can actually clinch up those bonus points or lock them up. But he would have to lead past, obviously he would have to leave past the halfway point in order to clinch those 5 bonus points early. But he can still pretty much lock them up even if he doesn't lead past the halfway mark. See, a good amount of these drivers are still at this rate kind of just minding their own P's and Q's currently, as a lot of pretty much all these drivers have spread out. They've gotten themselves into somewhat of a green flag rhythm. They're not really willing to put their cars at risk of, potentially wheel hopping, going into a sharp corner, or losing control of their race cars. Every single driver right now is taking it very, very cautiously and just trying to make sure that there's enough space between one another and making sure that they can get to the first pit stop in one piece. So that way they can have a better chance at either winning or securing a really good finish. We just noticed that Rogel Dorn just went really wide there through that previous left-hander, almost losing control of that number 86, but everything's still clean and green. And remember, caution, and again, as I mentioned, caution flags are turned off here for this event, as well as all road course races throughout the 2025 season. And whatever incidents may have occurred, we will go back and review those. We may or may not go back and review those. That just depends on if I remember. But if I do remember, we'll go back and review them. But there's our points leader, Zachary Fitzwater, in the number 98, currently scored in the 13th position. That is exactly where he wound up starting, in that 13th spot. Hasn't really gained or lost any positions realistically, but for Zachary Fitzwater, he's been performing pretty consistently. He's been performing really consistently since, the season even started. That has allowed him to nab the points lead. And on top of that, Stephen Colon didn't really have himself the best of races at Las Vegas at the beginning of the month. So that's a huge benefactor as to, Zachary Fitzwater taking the points lead away, and Stephen Colon pretty much dipping well below the top 10, top 5 in the point standings, but still holding on currently in the top 10 over in the points. But for Zachary Fitzwater, this could be a really good opportunity to start checking out with the points lead. As second place Wayne Lopez, in the standings, he's 5 points back. In the race, he managed to gain 6 positions. He's currently 30th after starting dead last, but still not the best of runs here for Wayne Lopez. Road courses are usually not his forte, but it's still very early in the season, so there's still plenty of time for Lopez to capitalize and get some really good points and still try to hang on to right around the top 5 consistently as this season progresses on. Because as the season goes on, it is going to be a little bit harder to gain spots in the point standings, as a lot of drivers are going to be spread out a little bit more. There are going to be a little bit more gaps here and there. Even if the points are just as close as they would be at the beginning of the season. but still going to be something to watch out for as the season goes on. Another thing to point out here is that every driver, with the exception of Zachary Taylor and Noah Clifton, everybody is searching for their first Pepsi Cup Series win. Zachary Taylor wound up winning at Michigan in 2023 to kick off that season. And Noah Clifton, well, he wound up winning at Rockingham in 2020 and on the dirt at Bristol in 2023. That was the year that he joined NS Racing after after a 2020 year over by Swiss Auto Racing that was originally owned by Chloe Bumgardner's team. But so far in this race and so far in this season, Noah Clifton hasn't really gotten off on the best of starts, but here we are tonight. He's actually up holding on to a top 5, but that could still change once these pit stops come around. And there's either a chance that he could still find himself in the top 5, maybe with the lead if he plays his cards right, or he might fall back in the running order by just a little bit, but still gonna have to keep an eye on that once we get down to that point in the green flag pit stops, which is still rather a mystery as to but that pretty much at that point would decide exactly who would win the race, is just who would have the best strategy coming off of pit road and who's able to get out on the racetrack ahead of everybody else after that round of green flag pit stops. Because we've seen last year during the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series season at Sonoma, actually I think we might have ourselves some pit stops early. Valkyrie Atikian is making the dive onto pit road in the number 23 machine. So far, she's the only taker on pit road. Aaron Abel did come down earlier in the race. Actually, no, that was Ryan Little. So Little right now is working his way through turn 19, heading to turn 20. But Ryan Little actually did make a stop very, very early in the going. And I believe Valkyrie Atikian that could signal for, the first round of green flag stops commencing here very, very soon. But then again, we've yet to find that out. So once we get down to that point, once we come back around this time by, we will figure out if we are going to have our first round of green flag pit stops. And after all that, actually, that moved Phillips up to the 5th position in car number 5. Then Sebastian Vaughn, 6th. Roberto Crown Jr. currently scored in 7th. Then Russell Blaze moves back up to 8th. Rogel Dorn, 9th. And Kyle Craven pokes his head inside of the top 10 for the first time here tonight. Craven has had himself a pretty consistent start here to his 2025 season. If I remember correctly, I would say he's in the top 10 in the point standings as of right now, but then again, I could still be wrong. But Craven has actually come out of the woodworks and has definitely put on a pretty good performance in the early stages of the year, and so far he is definitely doing the same thing here tonight. And this is actually the case. Valkyrie Atikian did hint at something, and that was our first round of green flag pit stops commencing. Race leader Terry Walker is in, along with Nia Steidel, Zachary Taylor, Noah Clifton. I think everybody is on pit road. The only driver I would have to believe that is going to stay out would be the 27 of Ryan Little. Maybe even the 95 of Bruno DiGiacomo. Actually, DiGiacomo, yes, he's going to stay out. Valkyrie Atikian obviously will stay out. And I would have to believe the 27 is going to stay out while everybody else is making their green flag pit stops. Terry Walker's going to win that race off of pit road. Steidel's going to get out second, just barely in front of Taylor and Clifton, as well as Claire Phillips. As up front, more than likely this is the fight for the lead as Terry Walker gets around the 23 of Valkyrie Atikian. So that has to be the fight for the top position is up. As meanwhile, further in the back, Zachary Taylor just got by Nia Steidel, and Noah Clifton's going to get around her. Will Claire Phillips do the same thing? So Steidel's starting to fall back just a little bit. She lost 2 positions, might lose 3 here. Claire Phillips is all over the back bumper of this number 5 of the number 6 machine. Ryan Little is up here as well. But remember, Little is a lap. Actually, he's not a lap down. He is, well, currently scored 12th, but he is now finally inside of the top 10, even though scoring doesn't say that. But Steidel did fall back quite a ways. She wound up losing what looks to be 3 positions. Total 3 positions. Oh, Phillips gave Steidel the bumper there. Oh, that was actually kind of interesting. Oh, Steidel she's getting roughhoused. She's getting absolutely roughened up as Ryan Little saying, excuse me, pardon me, coming through. As he's going to get by Steidel, and that is going to be another spot lost here for the number 6 machine. I'm not sure exactly what happened that caused Steidel to fall back quite a ways, but she's now getting past to left and right. A little bit of trouble here for the number 6 of Nia Steidel, but she's still currently holding on inside of the top 10, so definitely good news there for the most part, if you want to call it good news. But Terry Walker is going to retain the race lead. Top 4 have all broken away. Ryan Little now finds himself in 5th. Claire Phillips currently right back to where she was initially, currently in the 6th position. Steidel falls back to 7th. Sebastian Vaughn 8th. Roberto Crown Jr. 9th. Russell Blaze completes the top 10. As there's a lot of drivers kind of fanning out here further in the back, but it looks like they've all kind of dissipated back to single file racing. As actually, this is interesting. Bruno De Giacomo's on pit road, as is the 17 of CG Halt. So a little bit of trouble there for those 2 drivers. But tough break though for Bruno De Giacomo. Might have been involved in an incident at the very beginning of the race, and now still sitting on pit road, so very major troubles here for the 95 of De Giacomo, as well as the 17 of CG Halt, as he fires off and he rejoins the racetrack, or yeah, pretty much rejoins the race. But that is just very, very unfortunate here. Steidel's going to lose another position to Sebastian Vaughn. Is he actually, hold on, wait a minute. Steidel kind of holding her own here for a little bit. But it's going to be Vaughn with the preferred line right here that is going to allow him to rocket up to the 7th position, put Steidel back to 8th. So I'm not sure if they made an adjustment on that number 6 machine, but she is definitely not where she was initially running wise, but she could still score some pretty good points. I mean, I'm still remaining kind of optimistic here for this number 6 team, as I am for a lot of other teams as well, especially for Noah Clifton, having himself a really good day though, running in the 4th spot with 12 laps complete, almost to the halfway mark. 5 laps from that point, or I should say 6 laps, as they are on lap number 12, currently working lap 12 right now. Terry Walker, on the other hand, has opened up an almost a 1.5-second advantage on Valkyrie Atikian, who has a mere full of Zachary Taylor, who is just 0.4 of a second behind currently. Noah Clifton right now also, as I mentioned, he's in a zip code of his own right now. He's kind of just riding right here in this 4th spot. He has a little bit of distance on 5th place, Ryan Little, but also is up here. I wouldn't say within striking distance of the 85 of Taylor just yet, but he is relatively close, if I may say. But the top 4 have all pretty much broken away from 5th place Ryan Little. So Little has actually played the strategy quite perfect. So if he can actually stay right where he is or stay out front, he could, or really in this case, you know, nail the strategy just right again. He could find himself a victory lane if he keeps going at this. There's Russell Blaze down on the right-hand side of the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr., but the left-hander is going to give Crown the advantage. But as we approach the right-handers, I would have thought that Russell Blaze would have had an opportunity to capitalize on the 9th position of Roberto Crown Jr., but unfortunately was not able to make the run stick, and he's going to have to retain that 10th position at least for the time being. Meanwhile, Crown putting a lot of pressure on the number 6 of Steidel as Ryan Little called it right on the dot, going to pit road on lap number 13. So I would have to imagine, I'd say maybe right around lap 17, lap 18, all these drivers will be making another trip down to pit road. So the pit window from the looks of things is every 8 to 9 laps. So it'll be very interesting as to how this will change the complexions of things as this race goes on. So actually, I do stand corrected, by the way, on Russell Blaze. He was challenging Roberto Crown Jr. for the 8th position a little bit earlier. He managed to move up to the 9th spot just a little bit ago. But focusing back in, here comes Russell Blaze down on the inside of Roberto Crown Jr., but Crown ends up getting a good launch off the corner, and he's going to retain that 8th spot currently by a pretty considerable margin. They come around through these right-handers, now working the lefts. It is still Terry Walker that holds on to that 2.5 advantage, running in a zip code of his own. You know, he earned his first Pepsi Cup Series, his first McDonald's Cup Series win, in the WRLA last year at the Nashville Super Speedway, but that was for Hendrick Motorsports in the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. But now he's driving for basically Walker Family, basically a family team in Walker Family Motorsports with Wyatt Walker, the boss, with the Lowe's number 48 Toyota. So how fitting would it be if Terry Walker went to victory lane in essentially what is the same number, the same sponsor, but obviously the different team? It would be more fitting if he went to victory lane for the family team of Walker Family Motorsports. And right now, closing in on 20 to go when they come back around this time, Walker would be on pace to do that. If he's able to nail the pit stops down again, maybe another 2 more times, this stop and then the next, he could find himself in victory lane in another 20 laps time if he's able to hang on. Let's go back over here. This looks to be where the most action is brewing up. As there's Stapleton and Alexander Rowe going at it once again. This is going to be for the 16th position. Stapleton finally getting himself a really good performance here in the number 97. Same can be said for Andrew Miller in the 96. Right now running in a very good, comfortable 17th and 18th position. Now both NS Racing cars. I thought they were going to find themselves side by side there for a second. But that is not going to be the case here. Working their way around these lefts and right-hand turn and these left-hand turns, and now working their way through the right-handers of 17 and 18. And they'll be coming to turns 19 and 20 here. Pretty much all running pretty consistently, pretty clean. Clean and green right now. And we really haven't had any further incidents since the very beginning of this event. Which actually is not necessarily a bad thing. We came close a few times when Naya was getting absolutely roughened up here. Just trying to hang on to a top 5, a top 5 run, but that got absolutely stripped away. As she got roughened up by Claire Phillips, she got roughened up by Ryan Little. She fell all the way back to as low as 8th at one point, but now currently running in the 7th position with a heavily damaged driver's side door. But she's still going strong in that number 6 machine. Still a very impressive run nonetheless here for Naya Steidel. So coming up here pretty soon, they'll be 2 laps away from halfway. And you see the number 95, Bruno Di Giacomo. Just a lap or two ago, he did rejoin the field, but currently is running dead last right now, 3 laps down. So very unfortunate here for Bruno Di Giacomo, whom I believe didn't have himself the best of the starting spots here in this race, but nonetheless, trying to salvage up whatever, just basically try to log laps at this point, because you're 3 laps down, you're going to finish last, so at this point, what do you really have to lose just by going out and logging laps? So realistically, you could still try to get as many laps down as you can, well, really log as many laps as you can, and then get ready for Fontana next week. So it's gonna be pretty interesting when we get to Fontana, going from a road course to a 2 mile racetrack, which will forever exist in our hearts in real life, but it lives on forever in NASCAR Racing 2003 season, iRacing, and other NASCAR games. Valkyrie Atiki managed to open up a pretty considerable margin, a pretty decent margin, if I may say, on Zachary Taylor. Just about an 0.8 of a second advantage on third place Taylor for the second spot, at least. I mean, as far as Valkyrie Atiki running in the second position, 0.8 of a second ahead currently on the number 85 of Taylor. Noah Clifton not too far behind, a full second back from Zachary Taylor in the 4th position. Then we have 4 seconds back from 4th place, that's Claire Phillips. Having herself a really good day here today, running in the 5th position. She got a really good finish at the Daytona 500. She finished 2nd in the 500, which allowed her to take the points lead early in the season. She finished 23rd at Las Vegas. Didn't really fare any better but also could have, she fared pretty decently, if I may say, at Vegas, and which is why she's still hanging on to a top 10 spot in the standings. But it could very well change. She could get herself back into the top 5 in the point standings after today, currently running in the 5th spot. Right now doing a very good job here for the number 5 of Claire Phillips. "16 laps complete this time by. Once Terry Walker crosses the stripe, it'll be halfway home here in the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix next time by, as we begin the halfway lap here on lap number 17. Now the gap has grown to almost a 2-second advantage between Terry Walker and Valkyrie Atikian. Atikian still trying to search for her first Pepsi Cup Series win. She wound up racing in WRLA back in 2023. But now looking at, and actually for Trinity River Racing when they were a multi-car operation, but now have scaled back to a single car team. Well, really 2 cars realistically. One of which full-time with Atikian herself behind the wheel, and then also Ray Atikian running a partial schedule in the All-Star number 45 car. But nonetheless, both of which still trying to search for their first Pepsi Cup Series win. But Valkyrie's got a better chance of doing that than Ray does, for obvious reasons, because Valkyrie's full-time and Ray is scaled back to the part-time slot. DeGiacomo goes really wide there through that left-hander. Now back through the rights. Noah Clifton is just trying to do everything he can to get around DeGiacomo, but Bruno's got a lot of speed still in that 95. Despite being 3 laps down, he's pretty much just playing spoiler to Noah Clifton's party. Which more than likely is 100% the case. So last time we saw Valkyrie Atikian be the first to come on down to pit road to begin the round of green flag pit stops for the first round. Now it is the second, as actually Terry Walker comes on down pit road. Valkyrie Atikian's gonna follow. Taylor stays out. Sebastian Vaughn stays out. So pit strategies are looking just a little bit more split here in this round of green flag stops. Braden Perez comes in, followed by Rogel Dorn. We have Tanner Parton in. Campbell Marsh. There's Quentin Moore. Caleb Rose. Wayne Lopez is in. But Zachary Taylor, in the meantime, is going to inherit the race lead with Noah Clifton in second, then Sebastian Vaughn third. Move Nia Steidel up to fourth temporarily for the moment. Roberto Crown Jr. currently scored fifth. Blaze sixth. Then also running in the 7th spot, that would be Kyle Craven, followed by Emily Anderson 8th, Zachary Fitzwater 9th, and Alex Bonsignor showing up in the top 10 for the first time today, as we are halfway through the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix. For race number 4 here at the Circuit of the Americas, otherwise known as COTA, located here in Austin, Texas. So far, it's been a pretty smooth ride here for a lot of these drivers. And, well, really for this race altogether, if I may say. But it looks like Terry Walker is going to get out ahead of Valkyrie Atikian, but Atikian going to absolutely send it here in this corner and get right up to the back bumper of Terry Walker. So we're going to go back up here to the front end of the pack. Looks like Zachary Taylor might bring the field on down this time by. And chances are the rest of the drivers are going to make their scheduled stops onto pit road here very, very soon. There we go. Taylor brings his number 85 on pit road along with the number 99 of Noah Clifton. He is now in. Sebastian Vaughn, Steidel, Crown, Blaze, Craven, Anderson, Fitzy, Rose, Bonsignor, everybody coming on down pit road this time. with 17 now coming up on 18 laps complete from Coda. So Seidel is probably more than likely going to spend a little bit more time on pit road, which is going to set her back quite a ways because of the damage that is on the driver's side door. So definitely look out for that. But meanwhile, how about this? Noah Clifton's going to get out ahead of the number of the 85 of Taylor, but Valkyrie Atakian, wait a second, has nabbed the lead away from the 48 of Terry Walker. That may not be the actual race for the lead, but it's still pretty close. So Steidel's going to get that damage repaired, and she rejoins the field towards the very tail end. So definitely very troublesome there for Nia Steidel, as she's going to fall all the way outside of the top 10 and probably going to be right around where Aaron Abel and Wyatt Walker are at, right around just outside the top 30. So that is such a heartbreaker there for Nia Steidel, putting together such a great run here in this race. And unfortunately, it all just goes to waste there after contact with actually, no, it wasn't Sebastian Vaughn. That would be Roberto Crown Jr. Or no, Ryan Little, who definitely roughened up the driver's side door of the number 6 of Steidel, who at that point was just playing defense. But the race lead is going to go over to yet another Toyota of Valkyrie Atakian. Trinity River Racing and Valkyrie Atakian still trying to search for their first Pepsi Cup Series win in their time here in WRLA competition. So as they come across the line, this time by to complete lap number 19. Here's what your running order is going to look like here after this second round of green flag stops is completed. Running in the lead, that would be the number 23 of Valkyrie Atakian with a 3-second advantage on Terry Walker. Then third, hot on his tail, would be the 99 of Noah Clifton. Then fourth would be Claire Phillips. Zachary Taylor completes the top 5, followed by Sebastian Vaughn in 6th, Roberto Crown Jr. 7th. Braden Perez coming up inside of the top 10, currently shown 8th for the first time today. 9th would be Russell Blaze, and Kyle Craven would round out the top 10. How about that, though, for Braden Perez coming out of nowhere? Currently running in the 8th position here for Cologne Motorsports. How about that, though, for Braden Perez? Actually managed to get the pit stops nailed down here just right. And currently shown inside of the top 10. As for Nia Steidel, after that damage that she sustained after trying to play some defense and getting roughened up by Ryan Little on the driver's side door, she finds herself in 32nd after getting the driver's side door repaired and sent back out. But still shown on the lead lap. But I'm just heartbroken though. I'm honestly really heartbroken though for Nia Steidel. She put together a really good race, started on pole, fell back to second, and then started losing positions and fell as far back as the 8th position, but still maintained the top 10. But just getting that driver's side door repaired and sent back out is definitely was gonna put an end to such a fantastic run here for the 6 of Steidel, and she is going to take yet another hit in the point standings here at Coda, unless if she can get a really good stop and rejoin the rest of the field inside of the top 10. But I would have to think, in order for that to happen, however, she might have to pit at least a lap early. If she can do that, pit a lap early ahead of everybody else, you'd have actually a pretty good chance of cycling your way back up towards the front of the field, but it is actually going to be interesting if Steitl's going to be able to pull that off. But how about this, though, for Valkyrie Atikian? A almost 5-second gap. A 5-second gap on Terry Walker. Currently scored in the second position as of right now. But how about that, though? How about that? So far, this race has definitely seen a lot of pit strategy and definitely strategy really shake up the running order. And it like I said, if we didn't get a lot of racing, then good chances were that we were going to see a lot of strategy really shake up the field, and that's exactly what just happened there throughout this race. And I'd say that part of this event has actually been pretty entertaining. Meanwhile, over here, the challenge is on, but now this time this is for the 16th position once again between Nathan Stapleton and Alexander Rowe. They make their way over into this sharp left-hander. Ooh, Rowe gets a little bit wide there, but beats Stapleton back to the gas. But Stapleton gonna fight back around the outside, not gonna have the grip to stick to the drive, to stay on the left side of Rowe. Not until we get over here to this part of the track. Stapleton's going to pull even. As further up, Zachary Fitzwater and Alexander Rowe are going at it. That would be Stapleton's teammate going after Jerry Rose. This is for the 14th position that Rose is trying to get on Fitzy. But heading through turn 20, it looks like Zachary Fitzwater is going to get the run, and he's going to be able to clear Jerry Rose. That is going to be for the 14th position. Fitzy's going to retain that, and it looks like Alexander Rose going to retain the 16th position on Stapleton, who is still on the attack heading back into turn 1. So it looks like Stapleton's going to take that position away momentarily, though, for Nathan Stapleton, but I would have to believe Alexander Rowe is going to get right back on the attack here very soon. So that's definitely going to be something to watch out for in the later stages of this lap. But Valkyrie Atikian, I do want to update you guys on that lead. It has grown to a 6-second advantage as of right now. So chances are, once we get down to the money stop, that final green flag pit stop, if she can get that stop nailed down, then Valkyrie Atikian is definitely going to have this race 100% in the bag. Working their way down the pit boss tunnel. Stapleton is going to retain that 16th position. Currently on the number 34 of Rowe. Is further up front, Jerry Rose and Zachary Fitzwater still going at it for the 14th position. How about this, though? I mean, this action, this is pretty much, as far as I'm seeing, this is the only action that is going on the racetrack. Still the side-by-side fight here between Fitzy and Rose. Jerry Rose, who's going to have the preferred line here going into turn number 19, but it's going to be Fitzy with the acceleration off the corner and into turn number 20. The acceleration pays off once again as Fitzy beats Rose back to the gas and once again retains that 14th position. Meanwhile, further in the back, that's another Light Star Racing co-car that it would be Andrew Ramsey trying to get a position on Wyatt Walker, but to no avail. So Walker's going to retain that 29th position on Andrew Ramsey. Meanwhile, looks like Nia Styles is going to try to go after Caleb Rose, who's got a mirror full of Aaron Abel. So these three cars are all right on top of each other. This would be for the 31st position. See if she's going to be able to get it here coming through the corner. Not through the S's right here, but here's Aaron Abel already on the attack once again. Just to try to wrestle that 32nd spot away from Steidel. Here's CG Halt, who is currently shown on the tail end of the lead lap, but currently just running all by his lonesome here in this 31st position. He is 1 minute and 18 seconds behind the race leader. But speaking of our leader, Valkyrie Atikian has caught Bruna De Giacomo once again. Well, I wouldn't say once again, but to put him yet another lap down, back to 3 laps down, because De Giacomo currently is shown 2 laps down as of right now. But now that gap has grown to a 7-second advantage. Once we come off of turn number 20, that you're more than likely going to see that across the stripe, Atikian's going to go, and that will more than likely be a 7-second advantage that Valkyrie Atikian has expanded on the 48 of Terry Walker. Look at that. Wow. An 8-second lead. This is an 8-second advantage. Valkyrie Atikian is absolutely putting on a clinic here in this green flag run. With 11 laps to go, we'll be coming around to 10 to go this next time by. But my, oh my. Valkyrie Atikian has definitely got the setup underneath this number 23. And she could more than likely just definitely 100% walk away with this race win here after tonight. See this tight pack here fighting for now what's going to be for the 6th position. Roberto Crown Jr. is going to get that spot momentarily on the 54 of Sebastian Vaughn. He's going to clear up in front of the 54. Let's see if he can hold that spot here coming through this sharp left-hander, which looks to have been the trouble spot. Oh, Blaze gets in there a little too hot. Almost had to get on the brakes there to avoid rear-ending the 88 of Braden Perez, but now here comes Blaze down on the inside. This is going to be for the 8th position, so move that 69 up to 8th momentarily, but Perez is right back on the attack. Emily Anderson, right-hand side of your screen, now going after Kyle Craven for the 10th position to try to break into the top 10 for the first time here today. Since the tail end of, well, since the second round of green flag pit stops even started. Blaze further up front with the preferred line. He's going to get the run off of turn number 20, which is going to rocket him up into the 8th position once again. Further in the back, Anderson, Craven still fighting hard for that 10th spot. Back through turn 1, down into the right-hander, downhill into turn number 2. A pretty considerable margin right there, but heading through the S's, Anderson's going to clear Craven for that 10th spot with 10 to go here in this event. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, next week we will be at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the running of the Auto Club 400. Qualifying is going to be on Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time live on YouTube, and then the following night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the 29th of March, will be the Auto Club 400, which will be broadcasted live on Twitch. The part-timers will be at that event, unlike with the misfortune of them missing out on this race because of the track files only supporting a maximum of 36 cars on the grid. So again, do massively apologize to those part-timers for unfortunately missing out on this event. But we are definitely poised to have them back here once we go to Fontana in the coming days. Really, next week, I should say. So Atikian still holding on and actually going to surrender the lead and come on down pit road. This is the money stop right here. Atikian's going to be the first to come on down. Looks like Terry Walker's going to stay out. Claire Phillips comes in. So far, that's 2 takers coming on down pit road this time. Tanner Parton's going to be the 3rd. Lopez the 4th. Quentin Moore is going to come on down. Steidel's going to stay out. Oh, wait. Hold up a second. Walker just got absolutely turned here in turn 20. And he nails the inside wall somehow, but we say green. I mean, it doesn't matter. If the caution comes out, we say green no matter what happens. So Terry Walker's going to take back this race lead momentarily. We're going to try to cycle up over to him. There he is. Who currently would have a second lead. A 1 second advantage over Noah Clifton as of right now, but definitely he's going to surrender the lead and come on down pit road this time by. But man, oh man. So now the question is, who's going to be the biggest benefactor from all of this? Because whoever benefits the best from this round of green flag pit stops, they're more than likely going to have a chance at winning the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix right here at the Circuit of the Americas. So we're definitely going to have to watch this very, very closely. Atikian more than likely is back out on the racetrack. And let's see where she's at. There she is. Rejoins the field all the way back. Currently, what would be right around where Andrew Ramsey is, that would be, I would say, we'll give it about the 23rd position. 23rd, 24th. We're going to focus back up over by the front part of the field. Terry Walker's going to surrender the lead. He is coming on down. Noah Clifton's going to follow. Taylor and Crown and Vaughn, they all stay out. Emily Anderson is going to pit, along with Bonsignor and Jerry Rose, and Stapleton and Alexander Rowe. Zachary Fitzwater is going to stay out. Moscow stays out. Ramsey and Atikian. Obviously, Atikian's going to stay out because she was the first car to come on down pit road. So Walker finally is going to pit. And Steidel, of course, stays out. Every single other driver is going to be pitting here with 8 laps to go. So this gives the lead over to Zachary Taylor momentarily, followed by Sebastian Vaughn second and Roberto Crown Jr. third, followed by our points leader Zachary Fitzwater fourth. And Val Moscow would complete your top 5, followed by Andrew Ramsey in the 6th position. Those are the final 6 cars that will have to make the trip on down to pit road. And along with Nia Seidel, actually, Seidel is another driver that would have to surrender the 9th spot and make the trip down pit road, which would be rather unfortunate. Which is going to be rather unfortunate because she's right back up to where she wants to be, but unfortunately, she's gonna have to sacrifice that 9th position and come on down, because remember, she did stay out for those next 2 laps, so she will have to surrender this race lead. Oh, Atikian goes really wide there. Not able to get around Andrew Ramsey, at least for the moment. And here comes the rest of the leaders. Taylor, Vaughn, Rose, or Crown, they all come on down. Zachary Fitzwater surrenders the 4th position to Pitt. Moscow's going to surrender 5th. And Ramsey Pitts along with Nia Steidl. So that would complete our final round of green flag pit stops. So this would give the lead back over to the 23 of Valkyrie Atikian, who's going to have, oh boy, probably one of the biggest leads we've ever seen in Pepsi Cup competition as to date right now. That would be about an 8.5 second advantage that she would have over new second place runner Claire Phillips. With 7 laps remaining here in the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix. My, oh my. This is actually something. This is actually probably going to be, once Atikian crosses the line one more time and Phillips moves up into second, this is probably going to be one of the biggest leads in Pepsi Cup Series history. Probably in a very, very long time. Phillips works her way off that long, I believe that would be turn 6. Into that hairpin turn. But my, oh my. I don't even know what else to really say. I honestly don't even know what else to really say at this point. But then again, you know, realistically speaking, there's still a lot that could happen here within these final, coming up on 6 laps remaining here in this event. So Atikians could still have a problem. Maybe an engine could blow, maybe a tire could go down, maybe some other mechanical issue could pop up, maybe a piston, maybe a camshaft. Anything is possible here for the 23 of Valkyrie Atikian, you know, to lose this race. They could, the pit crew could have probably might not have gotten the tank all the way full, more than likely. Says the field crosses the stripe this time by. This is what your top 10 is going to look like with 6 laps remaining here at COTA. Running in the race lead, that would be Valkyrie Atikian with an 8.5 second advantage over the 5 of Claire Phillips. Noah Clifton is 3rd, followed by Zachary Taylor, in the 4th position. Russell Blaze completes the top 5, followed by Sebastian Vaughn 6th. Roberto Crown Jr. being shown in the 7th position. 8th would be Terry Walker. 9th would be the 28 of Kyle Craven. Emily Anderson rounds out the top 10 with 6 laps to go. Terry Walker at this rate just trying to do everything he can to try to get back up inside of the top 5 as he's trying to go to work on the 21 of Crown. But so far not able to make that move stick. Not able to make any run stick as of right now. As further in the back, the fight would be on here for this 13th position, or for 12th I should mention. I should rephrase that. I mean to say, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But Perez and Dorn fighting hard for this 12th spot. Rogel Dorn gonna get the advantage there, coming off of that sharp left-hand turn. Perez goes a little bit wide, but is going to be able to pull right back up alongside through these series of left-handers until we get back to the right-hand side, which would be shifting the advantage back to Rogel Dorn momentarily. But through 19 and 20 is where Rogel Dorn is going to have the advantage, because you would think it would be Braden Perez. He does get that 12th position momentarily, but it's going to be that speed on corner exit here through 19 and 20, which is going to benefit Rogel Dorn and is going to rocket him right on by the 88 of Braden Perez to retain that 12th position here with 5 laps to go here at COTA. Just in case if you might be wondering where our previous race winner Skylar Taylor is, well, there they are. Currently running in the 22nd position, not too far behind, but still faring pretty decently as of right now, but probably not the best positions, but again, definitely not the worst here for Skylar Taylor. Chances are they might fall out of the top 10 in the points, but then again, they could still rack up just enough to stay inside of the top 10. So we're just going to have to find that out once the points do get released in the WRLA Discord. So if you are watching the full race premiere once this drops on YouTube, be sure to keep an eye on the Discord once those points do release. Let's also check back on where pole sitter Nia Steidl found herself in. Unfortunately, she's going to find herself all the way back right where she was after the second round of green flag pit stops when she had to get that driver's side door repaired. That would be the 31st position. So again, very, very tough break there for Nia Steidl and that number 6 team after starting on the pole. They had a lot of high hopes coming into this race where she could possibly nab her first Pepsi Cup win, but unfortunately that wait is gonna have to continue as she is currently marred back in that 31st spot. 4 laps of racing to go here at the Circuit of the Americas. The gap has opened up by at least 2 tenths between Atikian and Phillips, as Atikian's now going to work her way through the S's. Claire Phillips is now working her way down the hill through turn number 2 and also going to start in the S's, just as Atikian has probably already exited the S's. But still a really good run nonetheless, though, for Claire Phillips. Has been performing. She's been another driver that has been performing really consistently at the start of the season. Remember, she did finish second in the Daytona 500, but still managed to inherit those 10 bonus points for winning a race. Because remember, Martin Nixon, even though he won the Daytona 500 and would have gotten those 10 bonus points towards, the Drivers' Championship, that's just that. Those 10 points, all those bonus points, specifically the 10 bonus points, they go towards the Drivers' Championship. So, whatever those 10 points win over to Claire Phillips, that's the reason why she was the points leader to start out. Finished 23rd at the Rockingham Speedway, had a similar performance at Las Vegas at the beginning of the month. But here we are towards the tail end of March, and she is already putting up a top 5 performance for the first time since the Daytona 500. And she will definitely come home in second again, and that's going to propel her up back inside of the top 5 in the point standing. So definitely a really good run here for Claire Phillips and the EGI stable. But the same can be said here for Emily Anderson, as my mic cut out there, as she's currently running in the 10th position right now. She started 12th, had herself a really good qualifying effort, and here she is, currently running in that 10th position. So doing a pretty good job here for the number 4 team of Emily Anderson, after kind of turning around what has been somewhat of a decent, but could have been better start to the season in Emily Anderson's opinion. If you were to ask her. But with 3 laps to go, definitely en route for a top 10 finish. And how about this for Alex Bonsignor? Had himself a miserable start to his 2025 season. The team, and within the off weeks, went to work on the Avons Racing Ford Mustang, and they have definitely brought themselves a really good piece to contend and get actually some really good points here tonight. And that is exactly what is going to happen here in 3 laps time if he can hang on to 11th here and hold on to a top 15 finish. Right now, just under fire here from the 88 of Braden Perez. This is the fight for, again, that's for the fight for the 11th position. Rogel Dorn looking on. Zachary Fitzwater finds himself in the 14th spot, so chances are he is going to leave COTA and go to Fontana next week with that points lead. So NS Racing, in some areas, they're not doing all that great, but for Zachary Fitzwater, he's currently having himself the drive of his Pepsi Cup Series career in the early going of the 2025 season. Nabbed the points lead after Las Vegas and has a 5-point cushion over Wayne Lopez currently. But with Lopez marred back in the 21st position, I mean, that points gap could grow by just a smidge. As meanwhile, up front, race leader Valkyrie Atikian has just taken 2 laps to go here at the Circuit of the Americas. Phillips all the way back. What is now going to be probably just about the same, an 8.6 second gap between the 23 and the 5. But definitely has been a pretty consistent action-packed race when it comes down to pit strategy. We've seen a lot of shakeup in the running order because of that pit strategy, and that's definitely allowed Valkyrie Atikian to emerge out with this race lead after running consistently right around the top 5, top 10 area for the most of the day, and now finds herself in the race lead, taking it away from Terry Walker, and she has not looked back from there. Working up to Bruno Di Giacomo and also Reagan Whitlock just further up ahead. But even if Atikian has issues getting around either of these cars, I don't think that's really going to be a huge problem at all because of that gap. I don't really think it's going to make a difference whatsoever. That's what I meant to say. But as for a lot of these drivers, including Valkyrie Atikian herself, this is going to be a very good points day again for a very good few drivers. Again, Atikian is one. Noah Clifton is going to be another one, currently running in the 3rd position, doing a fantastic job. Zachary Taylor is going to have himself a good points day. Russell Blaze is going to move up the running order in the point standings. Sebastian Vaughn definitely going to secure a really good amount of points as the white flag is out. Final lap here from the Circuit of the Americas for Valkyrie Atikian. She's got to navigate these 20 corners here for this last lap, and she will already be a Pepsi Cup Series winner. The gap has shrunk by 0.6 between Atikian and Phillips, but I don't think that's going to prove to be much of a difference maker. But Terry Walker, another driver that's going to have himself a good points day. Same can be said for Roberto Crown Jr., who's been running pretty consistently in the top 10 in the points standings. Top 10, top 15, if I may say. Emily Anderson, another driver that's going to have herself a really good points day. But again, the biggest heartbreak of the night has been Nia Steidel in the number 6 machine after starting on the pole position. Unfortunately, after getting roughened up by Ryan Little earlier in the race when she was losing at least 4 to 5 positions, fell all the way back to 8th, came down on pit road, got the left side of her car repaired, sent back out. That was the thing that put her all the way back in that 31st, 32nd position. So definitely a huge heartbreak here for Nia Seidel and the SKF team. For Elijah Gordon Incorporated, they will have to wait until Fontana to try to go at their first Pepsi Cup Series win again. But for Valkyrie Atikian, it has been a very dominating days for Toyotas, mind you. Of course, with Nia Seidel winning the pole, Terry Walker leading a good portion of the race, the Valkyrie Atikian pretty much taking the helm and not looking back from there. As she works her way through turn 18, heading to turn 19 and 20, Valkyrie Atikian and Trinity River Racing are finally gonna have a moment under the sun. They work their way through turn number 20 and down this front straightaway, no contest whatsoever. It is gonna be Valkyrie Atikian going to victory lane. She wins the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix from Coda by a very comfortable, almost just under a 7.5 second gap over Claire Phillips, who's going to come home in second. Third will be Noah Clifton. Zachary Taylor fourth. Russell Blaze will round out the top 5, followed by Sebastian Vaughn 6th. Then in 7th will be Roberto Crown Jr. Terry Walker 8th. 9th will be the 28, of Kyle Craven. And completing your top 10, that will be Emily Anderson. But first time this season that a female driver has gone to victory lane. This time it is Valkyrie Atikian for Trinity River Racing, McDonald's, and Toyota, winning the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix for race number 4 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. And here's a look. Standings are yet to be official, but this is currently what the running order looks like here, as the results have yet to be finalized. They will be here soon, but just definitely has been a huge, definitely been a pretty good race thus far, I'd have to say. Of course, you know, despite the fact that that we've had a few times where, you know, we've had some incidents, which, speaking of, actually, let's go back and take a look at some. Let's go back and take a look at some incidents, actually, which is actually a good thing that I brought that up. We're echoing twice. There we go. Not sure why we were echoing twice. I think it's just because we have two mics, two mic options, but you know what? It's okay. So let's go back and take a look at the incident that happened right around lap 1, because that's obviously where the most trouble had the most chaos had definitely ensued. Because if I am correct, there were a few drivers, I think, that wound up spinning out in that sharp left-hand corner. Actually, maybe not. What might have happened might have been on... Yeah, it actually still might have been lap 1. Which, that incident with Aaron Abel, we did see live. I do want to point that out. Oh, there it is. So there was a driver that did wound up spinning out. But it was indeed the number 19 of Wyatt Walker. You're going to see him right here. As everybody gets jumbled up. Looks like he wheel hops it. going through this corner, and see ya bye. Wyatt Walker ends up losing a little bit of grip and ends up going sideways through this sharp corner. Rather unfortunate there for Wyatt Walker, but he does end up losing a few positions on top of that. You know, that was at least earlier in this event. But nonetheless, that was really the only incident that wound up, really the only two incidents that I do believe wound up taking place here towards the tail end of the event. But again, a huge congratulations to the number 23, Valkyrie Atikian, and the Trinity River Racing Camp. This is definitely going to be a very fantastic points day for them, and definitely going to be a pretty big confidence booster once we go to Auto Club Speedway next weekend. His standings are now official. You take a look right there from positions 11th all the way down to 34th. Everybody finished on the lead lap. Nobody went out of the race, thank goodness, but only 2 drivers ended up finishing at least 1 lap down or more. That would be the number 9 of Reagan Whitlock and the 95 of Bruno de Giacomo, who wound up going 2 laps down. Thankfully, fortunately for them, they didn't go 3. So it all eventually worked itself out. But be sure, if you are in the WRLA Discord and you are watching the YouTube premiere, be sure to keep an eye on the Discord for the points. Those will be released here very, very shortly once this premiere concludes. But I want to say this one more time, a huge congratulations to Valkyrie Atikian for nabbing her first Pepsi Cup Series win for Trinity River Racing. If you guys like this, be sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss a future stream over on Twitch. If you're watching this live on Twitch, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you like this, be sure to give it a like. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, recommend you do so to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. But again, really good points days for a good amount of drivers. Noah Clifton's going to be one. Sebastian Vaughn's going to be another. Same can be said for Perez and Anderson and Bonsignor. A lot of these drivers are going to get some really, really good points days out of this one. And you'll definitely see those once the points do get released in the WRLA Discord. So that's going to do it for us. One more time, congratulations to the number 23 of Valkyrie Atikian for winning the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix. And take care, everybody. Have yourselves a fantastic night. And this is Elijah Leonard signing out. And we'll see you guys next weekend at the Auto Club Speedway. Have a good night, everybody.